Holy smoke, it's another lunch with Dabakis in the Senate Executive Cafeteria. The gay governor of Utah is here, Mr. Troy Williams from Equality Utah. But before we start talking to Troy, I want to tell you about what's going to happen tomorrow and how you can help and how you better help, or it's going to be very embarrassing.
I'm worried.
Tomorrow, for 24 straight hours, we're staying up. I get so tired of legislators and senators and probably me and representatives who are out of the loop, who are out of the clue about what's going on in the real world. So beginning 9 o'clock tomorrow night until 9 o'clock Friday night, we're going to be up 24 doing live Facebook. Where I go, you go.
Where will you be at 3 a.m.?
3 a.m. the Deseret News. We're going to check up and see what they're up to.
All right, don't come knocking on my door.
And we are going to knock on people's doors with lights. We've got it figured out which politicians we're going to go hit up.
All right.
We're headed to so many cool places all night long. We're hitting KSL radio in the morning, and we're going to the Radio from Hell, and we've got so many cool truck stops to whatever. So plan on it. Don't go to work. Just spend 24 hours with us starting Thursday night, okay? So look, start putting those likes. I want to see those things come across. Because if you don't show up, it's going to be really embarrassing. Does anybody have a van? We need a van for 24 hours. So, you know.
We support you.
We're also going to be reading your questions for Troy Williams, who is now the director of Equality Utah, many years. Legendary broadcaster in Utah.
Yes.
How long were you on the radio?
I was on 90.9 FM KRCL for 10 years.
10 years? That's a big chunk of your life.
Doing social justice talk radio.
And how did that work out?
Yeah, I think pretty good. I got.
We don't have social justice.
We don't have social justice, but I'm fired up to create change here in Utah.
So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
In these days of Trump, we're seeing
the dark age.
We're seeing kind of something.
Yeah.
But we've seen something before. We saw Occupy and it burned out and it was gone and never to be heard from again. The Tea Party, though, came in the first few months of Obama, and it not only lived on, but it's taken over the country.
That's right. That's right.
All three branches of government.
Do you remember how demoralized we were in 2007 in November when Obama won? But Proposition 8 in California passed. And we thought, you know, as goes California, so goes the nation. I mean, if a ban on gay marriage could happen in California, what hope would there be across the country? But that was the catalyst that ignited the LGBT rights movement like we've never seen before. And by 2013, we had marriage equality in Utah. So if people are feeling demoralized, if people feel despair about the things that are happening, what's happening with Trump right now is igniting a massive social justice movement unlike any we have seen. I have organized how many rallies at this Capitol? I can't even remember. I have never seen the numbers coming out for women, coming out for refugees. Here in Utah, this is an exciting time. Don't feel despair, get excited.
I mean, we have had the two biggest rallies in the history of the state capitol. Remember, it was built 2000. It's 100 years old last year.
Right.
So the two biggest rallies in the history of the state capitol, and there have been a lot of them.
That's true.
Came one after another. The women's rally, which was astonishing, and then there was more people at the refugees rally.
Incredible. A snowstorm hits Utah and it doesn't deter people. On a Monday afternoon where everyone's at work, they take off work, they come to the Capitol. Imagine all the people who couldn't make it, who would be there if they could. This is an exciting time. Progressives are coming together, and Equality Utah is there to support. So we were there to support the Women's March. We were there to support the Refugee March. We are all working together.
There's a lot of straight women.
Yeah.
You support them?
Yes, yes. All right. You know, back in the day, Harvey Milk talked about the coalition of the Us's. Harvey Milk is this iconic gay activist. Of course, you know him. We have 20 blocks of Salt Lake City named after him. It's all right. But so Harvey talked about the coalition of the us's, because in 1978 he was able to work with faith communities, labor organizations, ethnic communities to actually defeat the Briggs Initiative. You might remember this was a really horrible piece of legislation fueled by Anita Bryant, right? And it would have banned any gay person in California from even working in a public school. And back in 1978, they didn't have Facebook. They didn't have Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or RuPaul. But they were able to work together, a coalition of different people, to actually defeat the Briggs Initiative and Proposition 6. If they can do it then, we can do it in 2017.
All right, let's take some comments. Susan Gail Peters Turk, that's a great name.
Hey, Susan.
She says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for your service. Alex Boynton says, Utah's next governor with the blonde hair.
Oh,
Beverly Parkinson, thank you for this. Tricia said, there they are, two of my champions for positive change. Jim, are you going to be at the Chaffetz Town Hall meeting tomorrow? He has asked only real Utah voters to come. You know what? I'm thinking about this. Maybe what we need to do is, for all the people Jason won't let in the room, and it will be almost everybody that has a different opinion, we should A, ask for an investigation.
Absolutely.
But B, why don't we have our own meeting out there that will just be the leftovers, the people that Jason doesn't like. We got to think about that.
Call the press. Get everyone out together.
Okay, then, we'll think about that. And then Heather Dank Smiller. You cannot say things like that on the radio or on television or wherever we are.
I don't think we have the FCC here on Facebook.
So we can say
we
bad
can
words?
say whatever, yes.
Okay, but we're in the Senate.
Okay, all right. Decorum,
okay, so if you've got comments, we're
Yep.
ready, willing, and able to take them. All right, so a parking lot crowd for what do they call it before a football game?
A tailgate party.
A tailgate party for Jason.
I know a few sports things.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let us know.
Have a tailgate party for Jason Chaffetz, gather thousands of people, and then you ask the media the questions that you want to know from Jason Chaffetz.
Because they're all rigged, the town hall meetings.
Yeah.
Stewart, to my knowledge, he's the congressman for Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
His name is Chris Stewart. You probably never heard of him, but
Yeah.
he is. So when they gerrymandered, they took a third of the thing from Davis County, from Farmington to Bountiful. They took Salt Lake City, and then they took Washington County and globbed them together so the people in Salt Lake would have no representation.
Chris Stewart would never be able to get elected in Salt Lake City or Salt Lake County, probably.
He has a motorcade that takes him through enemy territory from the airport to get to Davis County and Washington County.
I know. So gotta make some noise.
Yeah.
That's what activism's about.
Okay, so what does that leave us? So we have rallies, and you've talked about or intimated that there have been two endings of this for the progressive movement. That is,
right,
or at least two endings. One path has led to nothing. Occupy.
Yeah,
Wall Street is dead and nothing ever happened. On the other hand, the Tea Party is in the White House.
You have to have policy initiatives, and they have to be concrete. They have to be things that you're working to achieve. You don't want your rally just to be a catharsis. I'm angry, I'm upset, so I'm going to go rally and make a cool sign, and I'm going to rage against the machine, and then I'm just going to go home and forget about it the next day. We need to actually start sort of buckling down. So what I encourage people to do is don't be overwhelmed by the enormity of what's happening. You flip through your news feed, refresh it, and there's a new horror story every day. So figure out what the issue is that you're passionate about. If you are concerned about reproductive rights, all right, then you should be volunteering and reaching out to Planned Parenthood. If you're concerned about civil liberty issues, reach out to the ACLU. If you're concerned about LGBT issues, Equality Utah is here for you. But focus on the issues that you're passionate about. Find the organizations that are doing the work that you love and see how you can help them.
So one of the things we're doing at Dabakis Caucus, we spent money.
Yeah.
Which we don't really have, but it's on somebody's credit card. I know it's going to show up one day. So we went to Qualtrics, which is a big company in Provo.
Okay.
And they're big data people. And so they gave us the ability, which Nick, my intern, has figured out. I don't know what the
I
hell's
hear he's
going
very
on.
smart.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah.
So anyway, when people go to Dabakis-cacus.com, it asks for their name, it asks for their email, but more important, they fill out, as you say, what are your hot buttons? LGBT stuff, reproductive,
Right.
bear's ears, the rest. And then guess what happens? We get that information and we line them up exactly with their legislators. So during the bear's ears hearing, it was a miracle. You could watch as this wave of messages, text messages, while they're sitting there. As they were sitting there, they were going, whoa! And it's from their own constituents.
Yep.
That's fighting back, and it's keeping you organized on the things that you care about most. So if you haven't gone and registered and filled out Dabakis-cacus.com, and Nick will put it on this www thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that. Or they could join Equality Utah. You got a big event coming up, too.
That's right. We're so excited. I mentioned Harvey Milk earlier. We are bringing Harvey Milk's protege, Cleve.
Like his boyfriend?
No.
Are you sure?
Cleve Jones is yeah, I'm sure.
You sure they were never?
I don't think they ever were. Cleve Jones is just a formidable activist in and of himself. He actually worked with Harvey to fight back against the Briggs Initiative back in 1978. Cleve was one of the people that found Harvey after he was assassinated, and then he went on to build the AIDS Memorial Quilt. He
started the quilt?
Yeah. So, I mean, Cleve is someone who knows how to win against impossible odds. So he's coming to Salt Lake. We're having an event with him on Saturday morning at Red Butte Garden. That's sold out, but we're going to be live streaming it on Facebook.
I have 4 tickets if somebody wants to buy them.
And at 4 p.m., Cleve's going to be at the library, Salt Lake City Library, at the auditorium. It's free, open to the public, talking about his new memoir, When We Rise, and it's the basis for the new ABC miniseries. It's coming out this month by Dustin Lance Black and Gus Van Sant.
Okay, so let's talk a little gossip here.
Okay, gossip.
So Troy is friends with a guy named Dustin Lance Black, who's a Mormon.
He wrote the film Milk. He won the Oscar for about Harvey.
Yeah, that guy, right?
Yeah.
So Dustin is Troy's bud, and when Dustin Lance Black won the Academy Award,
yes,
he gave the coolest speech in the
Best
history.
Oscar speech.
So if
Google
you
it.
Google in Dustin Lance Black,
Milk, Oscar speech, you'll get it.
oh my God, you'll be balling.
Yeah.
Of course, I cried supermarket dedication, so
I
it's
know,
hard
I
to
know,
gauge
I know,
anything for
I
me.
know.
All right, so, but he went to England and married
He's getting married.
to who?
Tom Daly, Olympic diver. Beautiful. Yeah.
So they're gonna have children? They'll be pretty children.
I guess they will.
Okay,
They will. Yeah. They're going to try anyway.
So, but the reason I brought that up is because Lance Black's new TV show,
When We Rise.
When We Rise,
ABC.
it's on going to be on ABC.
ABC, yeah.
And what you're going to Hollywood for the?
I'm going to the Castro actually in San Francisco for the premiere. So with Lance.
What if it's terrible and he's your friend and Tom Daly's wandering around in a bikini or whatever that? And you have enough guts and enough integrity, Williams, to say this show sucks. I'm sorry.
If you've
Lance.
seen the film Milk with Sean Penn, you know the quality of Lance Black and Dustin and Gus Van Sant working together.
So that is you don't have enough guts. You're going to give it no matter what it is. You're going to say, oh, that's great.
The story of the gay rights movement and the LGBT rights movement in America is a story of hope against impossible odds, and we need that right now in the age of Trump.
Okay, Tricia Kritzenberg is asking, what can we do now about redistricting issues?
Oh, this is a big issue, and I'm concerned that we don't have people on it right now. Every 10 years there's a census, and at that point, the legislature decides how we're going to sort of reorganize the districts. Without public pressure, without people demanding for fair boundaries and fair districts, nothing's going to change. And we are 3 years away from redistricting, and I'm not seeing any action at this point. So we need people. If you're an organizer, if you're concerned about this issue, we need something to happen.
P.L. McDaniel says, I look forward to meeting the senator someday. You know what? About 3 o'clock tomorrow on our 24-hour live Facebook, we're going to be saying, we got nowhere to go. If you're awake, if you're watching, let us know, and our crew will come to your house. It could be tomorrow. We meet her, right?
Right.
Are you going? Are you meeting up with us?
What? I haven't been scheduled.
Okay, we're just gonna drop by your
I
house.
usually sleep at night.
They said OWS, this is from Grant Larimer, he says, too many asks. Tea Party largely focused on Obamacare and debt ceiling.
Yep.
What are our two asks?
Oh, that's a great question because you're absolutely right. You need to have that kind of focus, and everybody is working on their particular issue. Rather, I think as we're looking at these executive orders that are coming out, and particularly we have to deal with one crisis at a time. Right now, we have to deal with the refugee ban. It is dangerous. It is a death sentence, particularly for LGBT refugees who come to America seeking asylum because their very lives are at risk by ISIS. So right now, there's a crisis, and attorneys are working on this. But I think we have to sort of focus with whatever your group is or whatever your passion is. You have to sort of focus on that. And you're right. Be very direct. Have two issues. Go for it.
And what are your two issues?
Well, right now, the LGBTQ community right now is, we have a little bit of a pass. There was talk of an executive order that would have given religious believers the license to widely and wildly discriminate against LGBT people. We've heard that Ivanka and Jared have intervened to stop that from happening. So we have a pass for right now, but it's very limited. Mike Pence, Jeff Sessions, the people that Trump has surrounded himself with are extremely hostile to the LGBTQ community, so trouble could come at any moment. But while we have a pass, we're focusing our energy on helping the refugee communities and helping women's reproductive justice issues.
Okay, Thursday night, Chaffetz Tailgate Party will be fun. Jim, will you come and lead us? I think I'll go, unless I have something that I've already said yes to. So Nick will let me know if I can go or not. I totally agree. This is Heidi, Sebastian. Totally agree with Richard. We need to go green and stop focusing on fossil fuels.
Yeah, if that's your issue. If you're the environmentalist, get on it.
Minutes ago,
crisis.
Two things, just by news, you may or may not have. The amount of the University of Utah audit, the legislative audit of the University of Utah Athletic Department, because they agreed to play BYU, came out.
Yeah, I remember.
$203,000 is what the state spent on the audit of Chris Hill and the athletic department because they dared to drop BYU. Second, the Grand Escalante, repeal the Grand Escalante, give it back to the coal companies. Resolution passed the Senate. There were 4 no votes. So
it's discouraging.
But you said something profound, Troy, and it's absolutely true. But how do we? There is a litany of lists.
I know.
And there's a lot of people griping and complaining on the left that it's our issue, it's our time, it's whatever. We focus on us. It's all about us. How are we ever going to get down to those two things? And what would they be? What unites everybody on the progressive side?
I don't know that I have the answer to that right now. But we got to figure it out. We got to figure it out fast.
Yeah, what about this? What about, and I've thought about this actually.
Okay.
What about a workers' bill of rights? Remember, Newt Gingrich had the Contract on America, and that united. Remember, they hadn't had the House for 38, 40 years. He took that Contract on America, these little bullet points, and he united all Republicans. It was a remarkable thing. What if we had a workers' bill of rights, and it said everybody's entitled to a job, everybody's entitled to a minimum wage of this, everybody in the Democratic side ought to be able to give up whatever, like the gay rights or whatever they are, for the moment, to embrace this workers' bill of rights. We're all together on this, because even gay people have jobs, right?
This is true. Some of us.
Everybody has jobs.
Yeah. I love this idea. One of the criticisms of the Hillary campaign and the Democratic Party writ large is that we've forgotten white working class Americans, that we've forgotten folks living in the rural communities, and we need to reach out to them and not let them be taken in by the faux populism of Donald Trump. We actually have to have real solutions that can actually elevate and lift up their lives.
But everybody, every special little wonderful interest in the Democratic Party, we all need jobs.
All need jobs.
I think that's the area that needs to be the big uniting factor. Because the further you go down, the more divisive things get. And the Republicans are smart enough to say it's 2 things: balance in the budget and whatever the other thing. Oh, kill Obamacare. Can you imagine uniting? What if this was your dream? To take health care away from people?
Yeah.
How sick is that, really?
Millions of people, millions of Utahns. Utah is like the second state to have the most enrollees in Obamacare. It's per capita. I mean, this is it. We'll be robbing Utahns of healthcare access.
We never took Medicaid expansion.
I know.
It's just a horrible thing. All right, so this is Troy Williams. He is the executive director of Equality Utah. He's the gay governor of Utah. He's also going to run for political office, and I'm just wondering what you're thinking about and which office would appeal to you.
Well, I might as well go for governor, right? I might as well just go right for it. I'm not announcing my candidacy today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. We'll take that. What about what's happening on LGBT stuff in Utah this session or in the next little time? You filed a lawsuit.
Yeah, that's right. So we have these anti-gay curriculum laws in our public schools where teachers are muzzled. They can't talk affirmatively about gay issues. Sometimes you hear it called no Primo Homo. It's kind of a funny name, it rhymes, but it's really an anti-gay curriculum law. And it creates this culture of silence in public schools where teachers can't talk about these issues. We filed a lawsuit last October against the State Board of Education. We're in the middle of that. We want to see that law struck. That portion of the law struck from state code. We want straight students and LGBTQ students to be treated exactly the same.
No.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I just wonder, the 24 words of the Equal Rights Amendment, which say there will be no discrimination in the state or in the United States based on sex, or treating all kids the same. Where does this come from? Who could oppose that? Why isn't this unanimous?
Right. Well, in 1996, my old political mentor, Gail Redistricting, because yes, I used to work for the Eagle Forum.
She'll be here tomorrow.
I know.
She'll be our guest tomorrow, Gail Redistricting.
She actually helped pass these really bad laws back in 1996, and because she kind of parroted what Anita Bryant was saying, that gay people can't reproduce, therefore they must recruit, we must protect the children. And that's where these laws came from.
So how does it work in the real world? A teacher in a Utah classroom,
right.
Kids comes up and says, I have two daddies, or two mommies, or...
We had a situation, one of our plaintiffs actually in the lawsuit, he was assigned to do a family history project in his English class. And so he wanted to write about his uncle who had just gotten married after the Obergefell decision. This kid was also himself gay. And the teacher said to him, it was an oral presentation, they all had to do it in front of the class. The teacher told him that he could not give the presentation in class, and that if he wanted to give it, he would have to deliver it after school alone with the teacher. That was clearly, it's unconstitutional, it violates his free speech, it sends a message to him that his uncle's love, and the love that he might have for another boy, is so shameful, so horrible, as Oscar Wilde said, it's a love that dare not speak its name. And so this is what's happening in Utah public schools. It's wrong, it's harmful, and it's got to end.
Imagine these children. That's what kills me. I mean, we had a terrific young man and his dad show up last week. They were from, I think, West Jordan. You just can't imagine how cool this young man is. There may be a picture of him on if you scroll down on Senator Dabakis, there may well be a picture of him. He's 6. To put this boy into the position where he had to go to the girls' room,
the transgender boy, yeah,
would be an outrage.
We're lucky so far across the country. We've been seeing anti-transgender bathroom bills popping up in state houses. We've seen a lot of religious liberty bills popping up. So far this session, and it's only the 3rd week, so anything can happen. We haven't seen any of those bills, but we are watching them and we're watching out for them. And
one quick question about the outdoor retailers leaving over Bears Ears. I had a 45-minute discussion last night with the CEO and chairman of Patagonia. These resolutions are toothless. They're not laws. We have exchanged preposterous resolutions for millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and thousands of Utah jobs. because it's so enraged the community of outdoor retailers. There's a real good shot that they're going to finally actually leave.
Yeah.
And the legislature had to implant that. So as you talk about saving jobs for Utah and creating jobs, you might want to just control yourselves by putting some black electrical tape over your mouth when you start talking about Bears Ears in a way that is insulting to the guests in our state. Really, that can you hear it? That sucking sound, that's the sound of jobs and money leaving Utah because the legislature couldn't keep its mouth shut on Bears Ears.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right, Troy.
All right.
Troy Williams, a tremendous voice in our community. Thank you for being here.
Thank you everybody watching, and get out there and get busy.
And Gil
We need
Razika
you. We
tomorrow
need you.
here. And remember to come and spend 24 with us beginning Thursday night at 8. And we're going to look into this tailgating rally with Jason. Thank you. See you tomorrow.